Y'all, for today's video, we are going over my full TBR card, which you can't even see in the shot, so it doesn't seem very impressive. This is it in all its glory. And yes, there are books on the back side of this cart as well. I think some part of me is hoping that if I post this video, it will encourage me to finally get through some of this, preferably before I buy any more, but some of these books I've honestly had for a really long time. I used to live by this movie store and they also had like a lot of bookish things like comics and Funko Pop bobblehead things. And they also had a section of books that were super cheap. So I'm pretty sure a lot of these came from that section because anytime we would go, I would spend most of the time in the book section grabbing a bunch of things that looked interesting. And some of them are gifts. And some of them I have purchased somewhat recently and I just haven't read them yet. So let's get started. The first book is Cleopatra Confesses by Carolyn Meyer. I have not heard anything about this book. I'm pretty sure this is one I had picked up at that store, the really cheap books. This is Next by Michael Crichton. I'm pretty sure this is like one of the Jurassic Park books. This is probably one my husband picked up or was like, you have to read this. I'm not really sure, but I obviously haven't read it yet. The Girl He Used to Know by Tracy Garvis Graves. This is a newer one that I'm pretty sure I found at the grocery store and I thought it sounded good. There's also a dedication from Taylor Jenkins Reid, who did Daisy Jones and the Six. So I should probably read this one. Cell by Stephen King. I think I've maybe read one book from him. I had to look it up because I couldn't remember. I read Desperation and do I still have that? It was really disturbing. I'm pretty sure that was a friend recommended that book. And so I don't know why I got this one. I don't think Stephen King is my jam as far as books go. Love his movies, but yeah. Wrangler's Rescue by B.J. Daniels. Pretty sure I picked up this book because I had read this smutty vampire book that's like, you know, this kind of vibe, and I actually really enjoyed it. So haven't read it though, obviously. False Memory by Dean Koontz. My mom loves this author. I don't think I've read anything by him, but I'm pretty sure this is one that she had said good things about. The Stranger Inside by Lisa Unger. This is a newer one I bought, clearly because it still has that stupid sticker on it that I couldn't get off. That drives me crazy. Love, Ruby Lavender by Deborah Wiles. I'm pretty sure this came from my mother-in-law. I think technically she just gave this to me to borrow, but I've had it for so long. The French Atlantic Affair by Ernest Lehman. I don't even know if I really want to read it, but I actually picked this up in one of those book libraries, like outside. I found one randomly in New York when I was there with my mom. I grabbed this book from inside, so I feel like I can't get rid of it because it's got very nostalgic. I don't know, it could be good. Safe Haven by Nicholas Sparks. I don't think I've ever actually read any of his books. I love the movies. I'm pretty sure I bought a bunch of his books at that cheap bookstore because they had tons of them, but I haven't actually read any of them yet. The Girls in the Garden by Lisa Jewell. This is also a newer one I've picked up. There's a bunch of these Susan Cooper ones. I'm pretty sure these are my husband's books, probably from when he was younger. These will probably be something that I read with my kids, but we actually have a box of books for when we have kids, so these should actually probably be in that. Once Upon a River by Deanne Setterfield. This was another mother-in-law gift. I've actually gotten really good book recommendations from her, so I should probably read this, but Enemies and Allies. The Dark Knight Meets the Man of Steel. This is by Kevin J. Anderson. I 100% picked this book up because the B-Man vs. Supes movie came out and I was like super into all the DC stuff. So plus look at how cool that looks. Over the Moon by Natalie Lloyd. Another mother-in-law gift. I love that she gives me books. It's the best. The White Hair by Jane Johnson. This was one I had recently picked up also. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I've been hearing a lot about this one recently, so I really feel like I should read it. The Scandalous Summer of Cissy LeBlanc by Lorraine Dupree. I'm not really sure about that. You can tell all of the books I got from the super cheap store because they're all super random like this. Some of the books I found there were really good. Mosquito Land by David Arnold. This is one where, to be totally honest, I'm not positive if I've read this or not. I've had it for so long. There's a couple I wasn't sure if I've already read them and just don't remember it, but it doesn't hurt to reread a book. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. No, I never had to read this for school. I actually started it. I don't think I got very far into it though. Do I still have a dog-eared from where I left off? Shut up. I only got to page 28, so at some point I will pick this back up. Maybe now I'm a little bit older. I don't know why I said that, because I couldn't get through Pride and Prejudice, which I'm still determined to do someday. The Japanese Lover by Isabel Allende. This was a thrift store find I was pretty excited about. It sounded really good. The Smell of Other People's Houses by Bonnie Sue Hitchcock. I am actually doing a book video and this is going to be a part of it. I'm not going to tell you what the premise of it is, but this is for that. The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani. I don't know. I don't even want to say her last name because I'm totally butchering it. This is like one of the last books I got. I thought it was so pretty and the story sounded really good. So I'm excited about this one. I got Jedi the Last and Mary Rise of Skywalker by Ian Dosher. I was at Barnes & Noble and these were the only two they had. So I'm in the middle of getting the full set of all 9 books, but this is where I'm at right now. They're the Shakespeare editions, which every time I see it, I just geek out over it. Probably will not get to them for quite a while. They're just so beautiful. A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. I've had this one for a very long time, but I felt like as a reader, it was my duty to read this or something. I felt the same way about 1984. Is that what it's called? And I didn't actually totally hate that book. I didn't love the writing of it, but I really liked the storyline. I don't know. Do any other readers feel that way? Like there's just certain books you feel like if you're a book reader, you're obligated to read. So stupid, but I found some good books that way, so whatever. I actually don't know if this is the full series, but I have 3 books from Victoria Aveyard. War Storm, Glass Sword, and King's Cage. It says she's the best-selling author of the Red Queen series. I don't know if that's what this is. I feel like I'm gonna get so much hate on this because I feel like these were pretty popular at some point and I'm sure I would really like them. I guess I should probably figure out which is the first and start with that, but I've got these ones. The Things We Cannot Say by Kelly Rimmer. Thanks to Kristen Hanna, I've kind of fallen in love with World War II books. I don't know, I just think they are so impactful and insightful and I need to read this one. I haven't read it yet, but I need to. Choking on Marlon Brando, a film critic's memoir about love and the movies by Antonia Corky. This was definitely a cheap book find. I have no idea why I picked this up. I think Marlon Brando's one of the hunky actors from like back in the day. I actually started this one too. I dog-eared a page. I only got to page 8. Some of these books I should just really get rid of, but I don't know. If anyone's read this and you liked it, let me know. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. I'm actually really excited about this one. This is one that was on my TBR list for a very long time and I just got it like a couple months ago. Haven't read it yet though, obviously. Another Nicholas Sparks books, Night in Rodamp, Pride and Prejudice. Still haven't finished it. Phoenix Island by John Dixon, another one I've had for a very long time. Hamlet by John Marsden, another one that I started ages ago and never finished. 9 Coaches Waiting by Mary Stewart. I think this one was a gift. Don't remember for sure. Nicholas Sparks, The Longest Ride. The Kings and Queens of Rome by Daniel Wallace. Another one I've had for a super long time. World War Z by Max Brooks. I have no idea how this compares to the movie. Oh, look at that, soon to be a major motion picture. I liked the movie, so I'm sure I'll like the book. The Selection by Kiara Cass. Another one I'm sure I'll get a lot of crap for because this was a pretty big deal at one point. I have not read these. obviously. I don't know why I keep saying that. The Magic of Ordinary Days by Anne Howard Creel. Dr. Sleep by Stephen King. Another one I feel like I might never read. I don't know. A Woman of No Importance by Sonia Purnell. I'm pretty sure this is like the third World War II book from like a woman's perspective. I just really love Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, so I feel like I would like these ones too. Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Nee. I watched the TV show for this one and was obsessed with it. Master and Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov. I 100% bought this one because of the cover. Like, come on, that's so pretty. This is also another one that I had started and have yet to finish. So, The Effects of Light by Miranda Beverly Whitmore. Fountain by Emily Grayson. Another cheap book find. Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. I actually feel like maybe I've read this one, but I can't say for certain. Ella Minopy by Mark Dunn, mother-in-law book. The Wicked Game by Michelle Zink. Revolution 19 by Greg Rosenblum. The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. This is another just stunning book cover. Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr. This is a newer book I picked up recently. I've seen it for the longest time, and just about every time I've been at the bookstore, I've thought about buying this. I finally did it. Still haven't read it. Slated by Terry Terry. I can't even tell you how long I've had this book. Also could have read it, and I don't remember. Free Fall by Jessica Barry. Into the Water by Paula Hawkins. The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith. Cursed by Marissa Meyer. This is one I got not too long ago because I love the Lunar Chronicles, and I haven't read anything else from this author, but this is a signed edition. The only signed book copy that I have. Very excited about it. Angry Young Man by Chris Lynch. The Source of All Things by Tracy Ross. Cinder and Ella by Melissa Lemon. Rage Within by Jean Roberts. What She Knew by Gilly Macmillan. Stitching Snow by R.C. Lewis. And my last TBR book is one that I'm pretty sure my husband and I got because it's one of the prettiest books ever, and we both love this movie. He has actually read this book and he keeps harassing me to start it. And I will. One day I will. I just have a lot of books to get through. But it is Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Okay guys, that is everything on my TBR cart as of right this second. I'm sure it'll just keep growing. Hopefully I can shrink it as I get new books in. If you have read any of these books though and loved them, please let me know down below. Maybe send me some encouragement to get through this pile of books. And as always, you can find out what's going on my Instagram. Like and subscribe this video, and I hope to see you next Wednesday.